Welcome back. Across the country, more than 2.5 million vehicles have serious unrepaired safety recalls. The risks are severe, and some can even catch fire. Others can lose control on the road. All of them have the potential to injure or kill people. And those very cars can be sold to you without the recall being fixed if you buy it used. It's a loophole some attorneys say needs to close. Reporter Kristen Crowley shows us why the government isn't doing anything about it and how you can make sure you are protected.
The pictures and videos are jaw-dropping.
Oh my God! Oh.
Cars spontaneously catching fire.
Ow!
Airbags shooting shrapnel into people's faces. Those are just some examples of what can happen when a safety recall goes unrepaired.
Anytime you go to turn, it's like a pulling kind of feeling.
Jatonia Garcia experienced the danger firsthand.
I saw this car and I said, that looks like a nice car on the lot.
Jatonia says she wanted a used car to save money. On the outside, this Cadillac SRX looked like the perfect vehicle to her. But on the inside was a problem she had no idea existed.
I felt the car do a little something. I kept telling my boyfriend, like, something, you didn't feel that? Something's weird with the tires. It was like sway across the road.
Then one day, while driving through Texas, that pulling nearly led to catastrophe.
I went to turn the vehicle. It kind of like did the shaking swivel on me stuff, and then we hit compact, and that's all I really remember as far as the accident goes. They could have killed the person and as well as myself.
At first, Jatonia said she was relieved the crash wasn't serious, but that relief was short-lived, and she said it turned to anger when she found out her SUV was part of a recall. And not just any recall, a serious safety recall. So serious, it comes with an urgent warning not to drive it. A loose tow link could cause the vehicle to sway, risking a crash. What's worse, Jatonia says, is she bought the car from the used dealership in January of 2022. That urgent do not drive recall was announced in June of 2021.
I would have never bought it. I wouldn't have even looked twice at it.
If Jatonia had bought the car new, federal law would have prevented the dealership from selling it with an unrepaired safety recall. But there's no federal law banning that sale for used cars.
Across the country, dealers are selling cars with unperformed, federally required safety recalls, used cars. It's being done across the country, all over the place.
Bernard Brown is a consumer protection attorney and a staunch critic of what he says is a lack of laws prohibiting the sale of used cars with federal safety recalls.
It seems odd that there is this requirement for new cars, but not for used cars.
I agree with you. It's not just odd, it's really distressing.
Are there people who are buying these vehicles with open federal safety recalls that are dying because of it?
Yes.
While the federal government keeps track of deaths tied to recalls, like the 19 fatalities with Takata airbags, it does not track whether the car was purchased new or used. But Brown says with millions of problem cars out there, consumers are bound to buy them used and get injured or killed.
Would a federal law on this issue save lives?
Unquestionably.
But that's easier said than done. Some congressional lawmakers have proposed such a law, one as recently as 2021. It stalled in committee. Groups like the National Automobile Dealers Association oppose such legislation. We wanted to interview them about their stance, but they declined. The group instead pointed us to their website, which states a federal law would hurt consumers because it would devalue their trade-ins and cripple the used vehicle market. It argues there would be little impact on safety. Brown says that stance infuriates him.
Are you really saying your dealers should have a car and not fix a safety recall before they sell it? Try that one on me again. Say it slow. Say it slowly so everybody can follow you. Safety recall. Oh no, we don't need to fix that.
We wanted to find out just how common is it for used cars to be for sale with these open safety recalls. So here's an example. This is a website that lists cars for sale across the country. Most list the vehicle's VIN number. I can just take that number and plug it into the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration's website to see if there are any unrepaired recalls. On this page alone of 20 vehicles, 6 of them, that's 30%, had open safety recalls, including this recall, warning of an urgent fire risk. We even found this example of a vehicle with a serious safety recall already sold. Even though there is no federal law, people can sue used car dealerships if they're injured or if someone's killed as a result of the unrepaired recall. But Brown says it's uncommon.
People buying used cars don't have lots of money to do these battles. I would know about them if there were suits about this. There are practically none.
So people can bring suits, they just don't.
That's right.
The wreck was hit right here.
Jatonia still hopes for accountability, and she is suing. The recall on her vehicle and damage from the crash are fixed, but her faith she's driving a car that's safe is broken.
It should be mandatory, and if not, I think they should have some type of consequences, because otherwise the consequences falls on the buyer.
Joining me now is Investigate TV reporter Kristen Crowley. Kristen, welcome to LNL. I have questions for you. What should you do if you see a car that you're interested in, but it has an open recall? Can you ask the dealership to fix it?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question, Deborah. And absolutely, you can. The problem is they don't have to. And they also might put the onus on the manufacturer, because at the end, that is who is responsible in fixing these unrepaired recalls. It is the manufacturer, whether you have a Toyota, a Hyundai, a Honda, they are the ones you're supposed to bring it back to. So the used car dealership doesn't have to fix it. They might not have the parts to fix it, but you absolutely can ask. It does not hurt to ask. And if they say no, then you have the option to walk away.
You're right, always ask. Now, what happens though if you've already bought a car that was sold to you with a recall that you didn't know about?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not much you can do legally, because there are no laws saying that used car dealerships cannot sell you these vehicles if these repairs, if these open recalls are unrepaired. However, you do have some options. You can contact the manufacturer to see if you can get that repaired. One of the scary things about these, though, is that sometimes there are recalls with no repairs available. There is no solution. So if there is a solution, you should be able to contact the manufacturer and be able to get that vehicle fixed. If there's not a solution, you may be stuck with it. That's why it's really important to check ahead.
You're keeping us smart about these things. I know I bought a used car and I never even thought about this. How can you tell? How can anyone out there tell if there's a recall on your vehicle that you want to buy?
Yeah, basically it's the VIN number. That VIN number is your number to answers, and you can find it on the windshield of the car when you're looking straight at the car. There's also usually documentation with it. And then just in our reporting, you can go online and just search that VIN number, and you put it into NHTSA.gov where they have the recall checks, and you can see instantly if there is any kind of recall on your car. And some of these recalls are not serious recalls. It may be a window doesn't close all the way and they need to get something checked, but some of them are very serious recalls, and those are the ones you have to get checked, and you really should know. And it's as simple as just running the VIN number.
Okay, I think I know what I'm doing when we're done with this interview, just because you have to make sure. You never know.
I mean, and honestly, it's life or death sometimes.
It really is, and that's why this is such an important story. We thank you so much. Investigate TV reporter Kristen Crowley, thank you.
Thanks, Deborah.